Like, for example, Jim and Pam, like, the fact that he's a hopeless romantic and he'll do anything for Pam, like, I'm the same way. Not for Pam, I was like, man, hey, Jenna Fisher, hit me up, but the DMs are open.
It's the year 2020.
False. Get it?
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Noah. Today bringing you another video. How's it going, y'all? I'm so excited to make this video. I just finished The Office, finally, earlier today, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sad. I'm upset that it's over, man. It was so good. For those of you that are new to my channel, or you just don't know, I am actually making my own show based on The Office. So it's basically The Office, but put on Discord. It's called The Server, and it follows a bunch of people that run, well, I should say they terribly run a Discord server. Now, obviously, that description isn't going to do the show justice, just like saying The Office is about people that work at a paper company. Like, there's obviously more to it, you know? The server's the same exact concept. I made a video talking about it, and I'll link it in the description down below, but you can audition for an actual acting role, or you can apply to be a writer on the show as well. So make sure you go over there and watch that, and if you are going to apply to be a writer, by the way, please write an episode of The Office and then send that to me, because the server is going to run the exact same way. But as y'all can see from the screen and from the title, the thumbnail, all that stuff, I'm going to be ranking every single character, or at least the ones on this tier list from The Office. There's some other tier lists that have like a bunch of people on the list, and I don't even remember like half their names. It's like, you know, Dwight's fourth cousin, and I'm like, how do I rank this person? They were in 2 episodes. But before I get into it, I'm sorry, I know like this screen's very boring, but there's not really much to put here. But I just want to kind of talk about The Office. I know this might come out of left field for people, for me to like all of a sudden start bringing this up on my channel, because I never really talked about it before. But you know, it's a show that's helped me out a lot in the last little bit of time. You know, it's a really good show. A lot of people have recommended me watching it, and I never did because the hype was too much, and I don't know, all of the love for the show made me not want to watch it in a weird way. I always knew that I would end up watching it, but I just didn't know when or why, or you know, any reason really, but I knew eventually I would, and I'm so glad that I did. But enough of me yakking, y'all don't really care. Let's go through all of these characters, because I imagine I'm going to talk about them for a little bit. Alright, so firstly, obviously I've got the columns: favorite, love, like, I don't care, and hate. I would imagine a lot of characters are going to be around these two, probably. Alright, so up first we have Angela. You know, Angela's a character that you either love her or hate her. I think she's really hard to be neutral to. Me personally, I didn't hate her. I mean, she definitely was a very effective character, and plus her real life actress, Angela Kinsey, I believe is her last name, is totally different, and so it's really funny to watch, you know, that dynamic between her character and then her real life persona, because they're totally different. But if I had to rank her character, you know, honestly, she's not somebody I love, but she's not somebody I hate, but she's not somebody I'm neutral to either. I'd say I like Angela's character, especially towards the end. She gets a lot better. Stanley, my man, Stanley, I love this dude. He's amazing. The fact that he had like 4 wives throughout the show was hilarious. The pretzel day is obviously iconic. Florida Stanley is legendary. There were so many iconic moments with him. He's definitely a character that I absolutely love. Next up we have, oh god, Karen. I hate her, alright? I don't even want to talk about her, alright? She sucks. I hated her so much. I knew going into the show that Jim and Pam got together because it's like one of the most well-known things in TV history, and so watching her throughout the entirety of her relationship with Jim made me hate her so much. I think she's like one of the main actresses on Parks and Rec, so there's a reason for me to not watch that show. Seriously, nobody likes you, Karen. Get off my screen. Jan, oh my god. Oh, I don't know where to put her. Do I hate her more than Karen? You know, honestly, yeah, I do. Jan sucked. I hated Jan. She was awful, so annoying. She was not good for Michael, and it was just terrible to watch her even interact with any of the characters. I hated having her on my screen. Get out of here. Up next we have Kelly. Honestly, Kelly, okay, I have a love-hate relationship with her. Sometimes she was really enjoyable, and then other times she was very annoying, which I mean, I guess is effective because that was the purpose of her character, right? I think, honestly, the reason why I'm gonna put Kelly in like over I don't care or hate, which I probably would have done before, is because of the finale. Her running off with Ryan is just for whatever reason really funny to me, and it made me like her way more. So I guess that's, you know, hey, we'll put her in like because of that. Alright, up next we have the skeleton man, Gabe, or whatever the hell they called him. This is pretty easy. Throw that man in hate. Was there anything redeemable or likable about this guy? Like, genuinely, can we think of one thing? I'll tell you what, I'll keep him in hate. Y'all come up with something that was enjoyable about about Gabe and then get back to me, okay? Alright, up next we have Meredith. You know, she's a character that at first I did not care for. I was like, whatever, she's annoying. And then as this show went on, I grew to love her more and more. I think the pivotal moment for me, weirdly enough, starting to like Meredith was whenever Michael ran her over with his car. I don't know why, man, but just seeing her get pancaked by the car was just for whatever reason really funny to me, and it made me like Meredith. Plus, the scene towards the end of the show, whenever her son is a stripper, is just like, I don't even know why, but it just works so well, and I love it. It makes me like Meredith even more, man. I don't know if I'd say I love Meredith. I know I just said that it made me love her more, but that doesn't mean I love her, if you know what I mean. I would say she's in between Angela and Kelly, but I still like her a lot. Alright, up next we have Roy. This is pretty easy. We'll put him in hate. Get out of here. Nobody treats Pam like that. You know, Roy was a guy that had redeeming moments, but again, it's the same concept of Karen, where I knew that Pim and Jam got together. Did I just say Pim and Jam? Oh my god. It's 4 in the morning when I'm recording this, if you want some context. Okay, so I knew that Jim and Pam got together, so seeing Pam with someone else was just as hard, if not harder, than seeing Jim with someone else. And Roy also was just a total douche. Like I said, he had his redeeming moments, but like, for example, a perfect moment on why I just can't seem to like Roy at all and why I hate his character. For one, the fact that their engagement went on forever, but also the moment on Valentine's Day where Pam's talking about how her and Roy didn't want to go all out on Valentine's Day because they're saving money for the wedding, which is totally understandable, but Roy didn't get her anything. Oh, but it's okay, because you know what he said to Pam? Oh, you're about to have the best sex of your life. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, come on, bro. I like alpha male characters a lot, especially on like Big Brother and reality shows. I tend to gravitate towards those dudes sometimes, but like, nah, you're not alpha male, you're just a dick. Like, what a douchebag thing to say, man. That just, oh god. And then of course the moment where he blows up on Pam, trashes the bar, and then gets pepper sprayed by Dwight. My man, Dwight, let's go. I love that moment. For Dwight and Jim, like, I love the moment for that, but for Roy, god, no. Get off my screen, but hey, no thanks. Like, whenever Roy came back in one of the last episodes and he was getting married, like, oh, congratulations, Roy, you're getting married. Thank you, next. I don't care. Get off my screen, you loser. Like, no thank you, sir. Alright, up next we have Daryl, another guy who grew on me. You know, at the start he seems like kind of a dick who's making fun of Michael and is, you know, doesn't really have his best interests in mind, and I think that was kind of his character at first, but obviously he grows, interacts with everyone else, and I think the real moment whenever Daryl started becoming a better character was whenever he moved upstairs with everyone else in the paper company. I think that was the pivotal moment where Daryl started to really become a great character, in my opinion. Daryl was definitely a really solid character. I don't know if he's better than Stanley, but he's definitely better than Angela. I'd throw him in the love column behind Stanley. Alright, up next we have James Spader's character. I think his name was like Robert California or something like that. He changed his names every time. You know, here's the thing with him. I don't hate him, but at the same time, like, you're not Michael, you know, and so whenever you go and take that role, it's kind of like, do I really want you here? I mean, granted, obviously he didn't have Michael's job, but he kind of became like the owner of the company. He literally talked Jo into giving her job up. But here's the deal. He was a character that was cool, but he just felt so out of place, right? Like, what is he doing in The Office? I don't get it. This seemed like a moment where he wanted to be a part of The Office because it was a popular show and his agent worked for NBC or had connections and got James Spader on a season. Like, I feel like this was a moment where James was just kind of like, yo, I want to do a movie, but I need to build my stock up. Let me go on The Office for a season. I feel like a lot of people did that with this show. Like, a lot of them wanted on here just so they could get popular. But you know that moment towards the end of his run where he's trying to convince David Wallace that his name is something different and trying to get all of these perks for the job and everything? Like, that was pretty funny. I definitely don't love him by any stretch of imagination. I'll throw him in the bottom of the like column, and that's being generous with him. Up next, we have Idris Elba's character. I don't even remember this dude's name. I hated him, though. Get off my screen. Nobody likes the mean boss, the strict boss, right? You're a loser. Get out of here, okay? Life's too short to be the serious guy all the time. You gotta let loose. Alright, up next, we've got Phyllis. I would say probably one of, if not the most underrated character on the entire show. Phyllis is one of my favorites, man. I freaking loved Phyllis. I don't know what it was, dude. I just loved her. One of my favorite moments with Phyllis is, I mean, it's not even a line that she says per se, but it's just her reaction to the line, and it's the sexual harassment episode whenever Michael Michael's hugging on her, and she's just like, don't worry, I'm not gonna report you to HR, and he's like, oh no, I'm not worried. Well, you know what I am worried about? Kind of getting a boner. And Phyllis's face whenever he says that was so iconic, man. I love those reactions from her. She was just a very good character. Up next we have Plop, or Pete, whatever you want to call him. I don't care. Literally, I don't care. There's nothing else to say about this dude. I don't care. Very boring, very forgettable. I don't care. Alright, up next we have Oscar. Oscar is... man, he's something. This dude's funny. He was really funny. He brought a really good, like, foundation, I guess, because you have the crazy characters and then the boring characters, so you gotta have that middleman, and I think that was Oscar. I will say his stock kind of dropped whenever he started helping Angela's husband cheat on her, you know, with him. That was a little, felt kind of against Oscar's morals, but, you know, at the end of the day, who cares, right? I don't. Oscar's pretty cool, though, you know, I liked him overall. One of my favorite moments of his is in the fire drill episode where he climbs on the ceiling and then falls through it towards the end. That was hilarious. You know, right before Angela throws her cat up and then it comes out the other panel, man, that had me crying. I was laughing so hard. I wouldn't say I loved Oscar's character. I would say I liked him for sure. Maybe I'll put him behind Angela. Yeah, that seems right. Actually, I take it back. We're putting him in front of Angela. Alright, up next we have D'Angelo, Will Ferrell's character. Get out of here. Hated him. He was awful. So annoying. Okay, we've got Clark. Was his name Clark? Dwight Jr.? Yeah, another dude. I don't care. He just felt super out of place. It just, I didn't like it. I mean, I can definitely see why they introduced Pete and Clark, because with Michael gone and then Holly left again and then Ed Helms left to presumably go do another Hangover movie was probably where he was, so Andy's gone for a little bit. So they needed more characters to add in, so I see why they brought them two in, but like, I just did not care for them at all. Alright, up next we have David Wallace. I'm gonna be honest, man, didn't really care for him a lot, but towards the end, whenever he bought back Dunder Mifflin, he was pretty solid. There's not really much to say about him though. I would say he's definitely better than James Spader's character, but I wouldn't really push it farther than that. Joe? Yeah, I mean, is there anything to say about Joe? I don't care. Alright, now we've got Packer. Yeah, that dude was awful. I hated him so much. He just, I don't know, man. I know that was his character, right? Like, that was the point. You weren't really supposed to like him, but it worked. So there he is. I don't like him at all. I mean, he had some funny moments, you know, whenever he laced the cupcakes, and I think what was his final episode, like, that was pretty funny, but, I mean, it's too late, bud. He just was not enjoyable for me. I don't know. Erin is next. Okay, you know, here's the deal with Erin. Honestly, was not the biggest fan of hers. If I'm being honest with Erin, I just didn't really like her a whole lot. I wouldn't say I hate her though, because I don't. She's just not really the character for me. So I guess I'll put her in the I don't care column above Pete, but that's not really saying much. Okay, what's going on here? There we go. Like I said, not really saying much, but hey, she's above Pete, sure. Kevin, my man Kevin. How can you not freaking love Kevin? Genuinely, how can you not? Okay, there we go. How can you not love Kevin? The dude was hilarious. He had some of the best lines in the entire show. Obviously, Kevin's chili is an iconic moment, but there's also just the dumb lines that he says that I love. You know, like the obvious favorite moment for me is whenever he's talking to Holly, or about Holly, I should say, whenever she's being super nice to him because she's getting hazed. You know, the moment where he's just like, I am so gonna bang Holly. Like, the lines like that, man, I love. And then his band, like, you know, those little moments with Kev were so good, man. So good. And then obviously the end where he's bawling because he tells Oscar he thinks he's gay. That's so good. He had a lot of great moments, man. A lot of great moments. Andy Bernard, the Nard Dog, is up next. You know, a lot of people say that he was like the worst character in the final seasons in terms of like being terribly derailed. And yeah, I kind of see that. I think he did leave to go film The Hangover or something, because Andy just going on a boat trip was so weird. Like, that was just so bizarre for me. So I think that he did leave to go film something, which, how could you go leave The Office? Yeah, come on, dude. Like, honestly, I feel like The Office would be more impactful in his career than The Hangover, but then again, what do I know? I really don't know anything. But overall, I loved Andy, like, consistently throughout it. I mean, yeah, obviously, whenever he came back for that short time period with him and Erin, you know, it was kind of weird, but overall, I think he was a really good character. I just think Andy was a pretty solid all-around character. You know, he had a lot of great moments, and if I'm being honest, and I think this goes for a lot of people that are big fans of The Office, but there were a lot of moments on the show that had me pretty emotional, especially with Andy. One in particular was whenever he threw the garden party, I think is what they called those, to try to impress his parents, and his parents just did not care. They didn't believe in him at all, and they didn't support him, and that really sucked to see. Hit a little close to home, to say the least, and it was really sad to watch Andy go through it, because I know how much he really wanted their approval, but it was nice to see him kind of break out of that towards the end. And I really hope if they ever do some type of reunion with the characters, like in character for the actual show itself, I hope he made it in Hollywood, man. I really do. But I loved Andy. He was one of my favorites for sure. Toby is next. This is gonna be a hot take. I'm throwing Toby in favorites. I know people are gonna be like, what? Toby? Yeah, I loved him. I never understood the beef between Michael and Toby. I didn't get it. I love Toby. There's just something about him, man. I mean, he was really annoying, obviously, with like the Scranton Strangler crap and everything, but like that was the point. It was funny to me. That moment whenever Nelly kisses him and he just tears his glasses off and pushes her against the fridge and starts making out with her was so awesome. I don't know what it was, man, but just seeing Toby like that. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it. It was so funny. Oh my god, though, the scene whenever Toby's getting ready to leave and he's like holding Pam's knee and starts rubbing his finger like all around her knee was so awkward. But then it turns into one of the best moments because he's just like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'm moving away. Okay, see ya. And then sprints out of the building and climbs the fence and just is gone. Like he's out. Usain Bolt down the road, never see him again. Up until the point where he comes back and he broke his neck, ziplining or whatever it was. Like that's tragic, man. One of the moments on the show that broke my heart was whenever, you know, he's obviously wanting to ask out Pam and he doesn't have the courage to do it, and so he doesn't do it. And then in the episode whenever he's leaving, Pam reveals that she always kind of thought he was cute. Like that's tragic. Like that is so sad. And that just goes to show y'all, okay? Learn from Toby. If you want to ask a girl out, you need to shoot your shot, because the worst that she'll do is say no. And if Toby would have asked Pam out, she probably would have said yes. So that's a lesson for everyone. Shoot your shot, okay? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, the worst she can say is no. And at the end of the day, would you rather be 80 and know that you got rejected, or be 80 and wonder if she would have said yes? Those are some hard truths, man. Learn from Toby, alright? His life did not end the way he wanted it to. Up next, we have Ryan the Temp. This was a guy who was all sorts of all over the place throughout the entire show. How's my favorite branch doing? How's my favorite temp doing? Get back to the coffee, bud. That was so funny, man, whenever he comes back as a temp. But Ryan, like, coked out in the final seasons was really weird to watch, but like oddly enjoyable. I don't know why, but watching him decline mentally was for some reason really exciting for me. I don't know. I think a lot of people were the same way though. Ryan was definitely a character I loved though. He wasn't one of my favorites, but I definitely loved him. He was pretty funny a lot of the times. Up next we have Nelly. You know, she's honestly a character that I hated throughout the majority of the time watching her, but whenever we had this storyline with her wanting to become a mother, it was super sweet and endearing and sincere, and it was a really great storyline, man. I really liked it. It was really wholesome, and it made me like her a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that really wanted her to marry Toby. I wanted to see it happen. Nellie's not a character that I was super in love with, but I would say I could put her probably above Kelly, honestly. I think that's fair. Up next we have Holly. Honestly, Holly is a character that I didn't really get behind. You know, she was just too good for Michael, right? And she was like the female version of Michael, and it made me almost not like her because we already have a Michael. I don't want another one, so quit trying to fill his shoes. That's kind of how I felt about it. I don't know. But I will play devil's advocate, and I will say this about Holly. She gave Michael what he wanted. He loved her. He wanted a wife. He wanted kids, and she gave him both. And for that, I will be forever grateful, and I will put Holly in the light column because of it. So there you go, Holly. You're rewarded with fathering Michael's babies and marrying him. Thanks for giving him that happy ending he always wanted. Up next, we have Creed. Man, this dude is honestly like so legendary. A character that you never really know what's going on. You kind of think he's a murderer. Maybe he's Walter White's cousin. We don't really know, but one thing we do know, he's definitely going to prison. And spoiler alert, he does. Honestly, I don't even know how to feel about him. Like, how do I rank this man? I know I really like this character. Like, he was funny, and I enjoyed him every time he was on my screen, but like, you know, can I put him above some of the mains? I don't know. Shout out to my homie Lexi for having Creed as her favorite character. character, though. I mean, he's definitely a good choice. I would say I'll put Creed in the love column because he was really enjoyable, man. He was super funny. Okay, now we are down to the real meat and potatoes of this show, eh? We got Michael Scott up next, and I want to say something quickly about Michael and The Office because a lot of people, like the general consensus with the community, seems to be that The Office is terrible without Michael. I disagree. Now, I'm not saying it improved because he left or that it really improved, but all I'm saying is people are way too hard on the seasons without Michael and the episodes without Michael. Like, they're really good. I don't know, that was just me. I really love this show. I got emotionally attached to it very quickly, as I do with shows, but this one just hit different, and I would honestly say The Office, probably my favorite show of all time, if I'm being honest. That's not an exaggeration. I'm being dead serious. It is very good. But Michael, you know, he was a character that, watching this show, he was never one of my favorites. Like, I mean, he was definitely up there. I loved his character a lot, and I really did enjoy him, but he was never my favorite character. And it was weird to me to think that he was some people's favorites, because I just felt like other characters were more enjoyable. The thing with Michael, though, is he set up a lot of the amazing scenarios, and if it wasn't for his character, a lot of the iconic moments in The Office wouldn't feel as special, and for that, he will always be remembered. And he's obviously an amazing character. Like, I'm not trashing him in any way, shape, or form, but he was never my favorite, personally, never my favorite. He was definitely one of them, for sure, though. Like, I definitely need to preface that. Like, he was definitely one of the favorites. He was up there for sure, just not the favorite, you know? And obviously, we gotta thank him for the many memes that he's given us, you know? All the great, that's what she said, oh my god, it's happening, stay calm, like so many other great moments with Michael. You gotta thank him for that. You know, something really special about Michael's character that I loved, and I'm, you know, almost positive it was intentional with him, but it was really special to watch, was his growth as a man throughout the show. In the first season, in my opinion, he was very annoying, very irritable, very just cocky, full of himself, dumb, did not care about anybody but himself, and that was Michael. I think that's what they were going for. But as the show progresses, Michael progresses as a person and just as a boss and as a character as a whole. Like, he just ended up being a really great guy because you learned a lot of things from him. You got to see a lot of these sides of Michael that you never really got to see. The hopeless romantic side of Michael, the loving friend side of Michael, the guy who just wants to have a family. Like, that's really special, man. And I think that's one of the greatest character development stories on any show that I've ever watched unfold. So 1000% Michael belongs in the favorite column. Up next, we have my man, Jim Halpert. I'm gonna go on and on for these last characters forever, probably. You know, here's the thing with Jim. I see a lot of myself in him, and I know people are gonna be like, okay, you're gonna compare yourself to the hot guy of The Office, the one that every girl wants to be with. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that a lot of things that Jim believes in or how he feels is how I feel about a lot of things. Like, for example, Jim and Pam, like the fact that he's a hopeless romantic and he'll do anything for Pam. Like, I'm the same way. Not for Pam, I was like, man, hey, Jenna Fisher, hit me up, the DMs are open. But that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is I'm a hopeless romantic, a lot like Jim, you know? I want to have that happy love story. I think everyone's like that, right? Deep down inside of us, everyone's a hopeless romantic, and I think that's really special. But Jim is definitely the definition of it on television. Like, he's the perfect example of it, and it's really special to watch. And so that was one of the main reasons why I love Jim. Honestly, I say one of the main reasons, but there's about 1,000 different reasons why I loved his character. The main one, I keep saying the main one, there's so many, but he was just really relatable. And I think that goes for a lot of people, not just the sarcasticness, because that's lame. Like, oh, I relate to the sarcastic character. Yeah, get a personality, everyone does, right? But you know, there was just a lot more to Jim. He's obviously incredibly funny. His feud with Dwight that ends up becoming a friggin' bromance was insane. I loved that so much. His incredible heart, his love for Pam and for his family and for his friends was just incredibly admirable, and I loved watching it happen. And his desires in life, you know, the fact that he started a company that ended up blowing up was insane. Like, it shows that Jim really has amazing ambition, amazing drive, and a great heart. Not to mention he's super smart, funny, intelligent. Like, there's the man is the total package, okay? He is. Nobody can deny that. And of course people are gonna like him because he's like the guy that's supposed to connect with the audience the most, because he's the one that looks at the camera the most and has the faces and everything. You know, like, Jim is supposed to be the relatable one. He's supposed to be the one that everyone watches and they're like, ah, this guy, I get him. You know what I mean? mean? But there's so much more to him than just being relatable, and I love that. You know, there was something that Jim did in one of the earlier seasons that I loved, and it was whenever he just spontaneously was like, I'm gonna take a trip. I want to take a trip. I don't know why, but I want to take a trip. And he had just mentioned, like, you know, hey, I've been living the same day basically for the last so many years. I want to change that. And that really stuck with me, you know, because I made the same types of YouTube videos every single day for years, and I wasn't happy doing it. And Jim wasn't happy just kind of going about his life every single day at his 9 to 5. He wanted to go do more things. He wanted to experience the world, and that was really cool. And it hit very close to home, and, you know, that was one of the main reasons why I loved Jim, because I related to him more than just being the sarcastic funny guy. Like, you know, his personal demons that he fought of just wanting to go out and do more things, and the fact that he just felt like he was kind of wasting away doing stuff that he didn't want to do, and he had more ambition and everything. Like, I really liked that about him. That was something that I related to a lot, and it was really special to watch him finally see what he wanted in life with Pam. You know, Jim got his happy ending. He got his ending with Pam, what he always wanted, and I loved that, man. It was so special. So special. And so for that, we gotta put Jim in my favorite slot. We also can't forget the fact that that chick tried to seduce Jim in the hotel whenever they were in Florida, and he kicked her out. My man is loyal. Take it to the bank. He ain't cheating. Alright, we could say the same about the next awesome person, Pam Beesly. Man, where do I start with Pam? I freaking love Pam. I think that goes to say for like everyone who's watched the show. Like, if you watched the show and you didn't like Pam, there's something wrong with you. You need to go see HR, right? You need to go talk to Toby, because he'll set you straight. He might tickle your knee too. I genuinely could go on and on about Pam, how much I loved her, and just how relatable she was to me. Her and Jim were very relatable to me, and because I mean, they're very similar people, and there's just something about them that really hit home with me. They both struck a chord with me and really got me emotional in a lot of scenarios, you know. Oh, real quick, I want to say something about Jim before I go too deep into Pam. That's what she said. I mean, come on. I set myself up for that. I didn't even do that on purpose. But the moment whenever Jim confesses his love to Pam in Casino Night in season 2 had me bawling, genuinely in tears. Whenever Jim's in tears and he's obviously like, I know he's gonna get rejected, and he does, and he's crying about it, but not like a baby. He's just like emotional because he knows, like, he's like, yeah, I knew this answer was gonna come, and he was just sad, you know. He's like, I can't just be friends, I want more than that, you know that. And the tears are rolling. I'm just like, oh, Jim. Like, it was rough, man. It was hard to watch. It was so good though. So yeah, I just had to say that about Jim. Love the dude. God, I'm a nerd, dude. Alright, okay, back to Pam. You know, she, like I said, is a lot like Jim, but something that Pam said in the last episode really hit me hard. You know, she basically just talked about how she was watching the documentary back, and she had to stop after a few episodes because she kept screaming at her TV at Pam because she was hating on her because she took so long to find what she wanted. You know, she didn't like how Pam just sat there and wasted her life away, being 5 feet away from the guy she always loved, but, you know, took 4 years before she finally got to him, and how she never went after what she wanted. It took her forever. It took her 9 years to realize, you know, hey, I want to do this. It took her 9 years before she took a leap of faith. That's why they ended up moving to Texas. You know, these things with Pam, all of these moments that she brought up in that little speech at the end of the episode about all these regrets that she had and how she wishes she would have got to them sooner. God, that hit very close to home and had me very emotional, if I'm being honest. Because I'm the same way. There's been so many outs for me on YouTube where I could have gotten out of my normal content, and I never took it because I was always too scared. And I look back on that and punch myself because I'm like, you should have taken those avenues, man. I think a lot of people's biggest fears, and my biggest fear for sure in life, is the fear of regret. And I know Pam had that fear throughout the entirety of the show, and she expresses her regret for not moving sooner and wasting so much time at Dunder Mifflin. I mean, obviously she enjoyed it. Like, she's not bad-mouthing Dunder Mifflin. I'm not trying to, you know, explain this poorly, but she just wishes she would have got with Jim sooner, and they could have done more stuff together sooner. And she wasted 9 years waiting to make a big move. herself, and she finally did it, but she wishes she would have done it sooner. And I'm kind of the same with my channel, you know? It took me so long to finally realize, hey, it's time to do this. I spent so long doing content that I didn't like doing, and Pam spent so long being a receptionist when she didn't want to do it. And she was 5 feet away from the dude that she loved, but was too scared to tell him that. And you know, it's wild to think. Regret is a scary thing, and Pam really helped me throughout the show, and Jim too, you know, to learn, because I'm 19 and they were in their 30s character wise at the end of the show. And you know, watching them have all this wisdom, you know, talking about, hey, listen, like, you know, these are the things that I wish I would have done sooner. It's like, wow, that hits really close to home. And like I said, you know, I said it once, I'll say it again, like that little monologue of hers at the end had me really emotional because it hit very close to home, and it motivated me also to go and do things, which is why I'm doing the server. I mentioned at the start of the video, but if you're still watching, go audition. You need to. It's in the description down below, like I said before. This video is genuinely going to be like 45 minutes long, but I don't care. I don't care. This is a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, man. It's so good. But, you know, at the end of the day, just all of these things with Pam's character, all the heartbreak that she went through, seeing her with Roy, knowing that she deserved better, and seeing all of the just heartbreaking things, like I mentioned with Roy being like, oh, you're gonna have the best sex of your life, and Pam just being so disappointed by that news. It just broke my heart, because you're seeing her knowing that she deserves Jim, she wants Jim, and he will improve her life so much, and that is truly the fairy tale ending for them too, and seeing it take so long and her have to go through so much pain throughout the show to finally get to Jim broke my heart. But it was so rewarding whenever it finally happened, you know? And at the end of the day, maybe that made it more effective and more rewarding, like I said, but it was still very hard to watch, seeing her go through that pain of wanting that life, but she couldn't get it. And she finally did, and that was a special, special moment. So beautiful and a great time. So to wrap up my speech, I'll just say Pam was a character I related to a lot, and I still relate to this day. And, you know, gotta put her up here, man. It's kind of obvious. Which leaves the very last, but certainly not least, Dwight K. Schrute. You know, there's a million things I could say about this dude, and ironically, I don't relate to him. I know that was like one of my main reasons why I love Jim and Pam so much, but I don't really relate to Dwight a whole lot. I kind of do in the way that he was, you know, there's a girl that he really likes, but he just couldn't get her, and then finally he ends up marrying Angela. But you know, I kind of relate to that. I think a lot of guys do. A lot of people in general just relate to that. You know, that person that you really want but you can never get them. Everybody hopes to get that Jim and Pam relationship, and the fact that Dwight got it with Angela at the end was really special, man. And of course, whenever Michael shows up and is Dwight's best man in the final episode, had me bawling. Like, it was just such a great moment. Like, I was jumping up, popping so hard. I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, Dwight's character evolving throughout the entirety of the show was so incredible to watch. Like, the evolution was insane. He always kept that snarky, quick-witted, kind of weirdo, standoffish in a way, but amazing personality throughout the first season to the end. But seeing him and Jim evolve into becoming really good friends to the point where Dwight makes Jim his best man at his wedding, it was so good. I mean, you know, part of me kind of expected it to happen throughout watching it. You think like, oh, surely they're going to become friends, but then it just keeps going and going and going, and you're just like, man, is this going to happen? And then of course it does, and it was so special that it took all the way up until the end of the series for it to finally happen, but I think that was what made it super effective, and I think that's the way to do it, honestly. The rivalry was like any other, definitely the best of television history, cinematic history, entertainment history, there you go, world history, sure, put it in the textbooks. Okay, we're getting a little far here, but you get what I'm saying. That was a really fun moment, and one of my favorite Dwight moments was at the very end of the show, whenever he's talking about, do I love my subordinates? You know, talking about, do I get along with them and this and that? He's going through every person. He gets to Jim, talks about him being his best man at his wedding, and then says that Pam is his best friend. That was a great moment. That was a super heartwarming moment. Definitely a tearjerker, and one that I loved, man. One that I'll never forget. Definitely one of my favorite television moments of all time was that Dwight monologue. The final episode had a lot of great moments, man. And I will say, whenever we finally found out that Dwight was the father of Philip, I was so freaking happy. I was jumping in my room. I was popping. It's like, let's go, Dwight. Who's the daddy? Like, I was being obnoxious as hell, but I don't care. Like, I was so happy for this, man. It was great. It was just a great experience as a whole. Like, that's all Dwight wanted. He just wanted to be manager. He wanted to marry Angela, and he wanted to have a son or a daughter. He just wanted to have a kid. And he wanted to have his beet farm. Like, he just wanted to live an honest, happy life. And he finally got that at the end. You know, he became manager. Like, he became manager. He got Angela. He got the kid. He got the farm. He got everything, man. It was an incredibly happy ending for Dwight. It was so good. I don't see how anyone could watch The Office and not love his character. Like, I just don't see it. And plus, it helps that Rainn Wilson, you know, similarly to every single person that worked on this show, is a fantastic human being. I could go on and on and on about Dwight and how much I love him, and I'll just leave it at that. I love the guy. He's a great character. I would love to meet Rainn Wilson one day, and Dwight is, by far, my favorite character on The Office. I shouldn't say by far though, because these three in particular, Dwight, Jim, and Pam, are very close. They're my definitive top three, but they're very close together. Alright, 2.5 hours later, I hope that you guys enjoyed your brief intermission throughout the episode, or the movie, or whatever this video ends up being, right? Like, this thing was friggin' long. But, you know, it needed to be this long, right? I feel like I don't talk enough in depth about things, and The Office is a show that is very special, and it is always going to be super close to my heart. The writing is incredible, the cinematography and the directing is insane. It's so good. The acting obviously is phenomenal, very spot on. There was that one person on the show where I'm like, I don't know about them, you know? Like, I think everyone was really good at their job. And of course, just a lot of the storylines that related to me a lot, you know? Andy's relationship with his parents was really special. Jim and Pam obviously is like the goal for everyone, and then also just Pam related to me so much, and Jim related to me so much. Like, I just related to them so freaking much throughout the entire show, and that was really nice to have. And then of course Dwight, just every episode was a banger with him. There wasn't a moment where it missed with Dwight. Like, he was always top tier, god level throughout the entirety of the show. And you know, every time Dwight walked in, everyone was like, oh, why do I hear boss music, right? Like, he was a beast. All of the characters so good, well, for the most part, except for, you know, these people down here. We don't really need them, right? But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the movie. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I do want to say again, I am making a show like The Office. It's my thank you to The Office, and also it's just something fun for me. It's called The Server. It's basically The Office, but with younger people on Discord. It's a lot better and funnier and more enjoyable than it sounds, I promise. If you would like to audition for an acting role or apply as a writer, definitely what you need to do if you want to be a writer, you need to write an episode of The Office, okay? Just write your own episode of The Office, send it on the application. Go to this video in the description below. I've mentioned it 100 times already throughout this video of the server announcement video. Go watch that. Go, you know, follow everything in there. Do the audition link on Google Forms and put your scripts on there if you want to be a writer, and if you want to audition for an acting role, link a YouTube video. Make it unlisted. Publicing it's just kind of weird. I mean, you can keep it public if you want. Obviously, don't make it private and I can't see it. But alright, I think we covered everything. I'm gonna do like 5 episodes for the first season of that, and then depending on how it goes, we'll do another one. I'm gonna make another video talking more about the project, because I didn't really talk a whole lot about it in that video. Just kind of talked about, hey, I'm making this, here's how you can apply. But I'll go more in depth about the characters and things like that in another video. But for now, that's all I got for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please like the video if you did enjoy. Comment down what you guys think of the video, and in the comments down below, let me know who your top 5 characters from The Office are and why. I'm interested to see, so let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys check the description down below for my Twitter, my Discord, my Instagram, my Snapchat. This Discord server, you need to join it, because it's how you'll learn about the server more. Obviously, like I said, the audition video or the announcement video for the server is in the description below, and you can join my Discord server, which, you know what, I'm not going to talk about my Discord server and the server of the show, how they relate, because I already did in that other video, you know, the one about the server, the announcement video that I've mentioned 100 times in this video. Yeah, it's in the description below if you missed it the first 10 times. But yeah, like I said, I got a lot of cool stuff in the description below, so make sure y'all peep that. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you guys for all the support recently. I'm doing something now where I'm just done looking at analytics. I'm not going to look at my sub count, my views, revenue, anything like that. I don't care. I'm not going to look at it anymore. Instead, I'm just going to have fun on YouTube. If a video gets 10,000 views, I'm happy. If it gets 1 view, I'm happy. If it gets 1 million views, I'm happy, because I won't know. I'm not going to focus on the views, and even if I looked at them, I'm not going to care, because all I care about is coming on YouTube, making you guys smile, making you laugh, making you have a better day. That's all I care about. That's my job here, to make your lives better. I don't care about the number of views, the amount of money I make, the amount of subscribers I have. I don't care about any of it. All I care about is making y'all happy. With that being said, you should still totally subscribe, because you can see more of the videos. So yeah, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe. I hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic day, week, and life. Thank you all so much for watching this video.
Leonard likes this post.
Peace out.
I got